2. Hey everybody, welcome to Gospel Express TV. I'm Nina Taylor. My special guest is from one of my favorite groups of all time, Sounds of Blackness, for the Gary Hines is on the show today. How you doing, sir? How you doing?
I am blessed through it all, Queen Nina. Thanks so much for having me on behalf of Sounds of Blackness.
Thank you so much. Now, are you in Minneapolis right now?
I am.
How's the weather there? I mean, what are the summers like? We know about the winters and how horrible it can be, but what are the summers like?
Our summers are short, but actually surprisingly very warm. Like today, it's 100 degrees. So, you know, we're in the same heat wave that much of the United States and actually much of the world has been in, you know, for the past few weeks.
Yes. Okay. It's 100 today. Yeah, we got kind of a break today. I said, let me open my window. I like to have a little bit of air flowing through. But so that's unusual because you don't think about places like Alaska and Minneapolis of getting heat. Okay.
Right.
Now, you are one of the founders of the group Sound of Blackness. Why don't you tell everybody about that, about those days and how you got started with the group?
Sounds of Blackness began in 1971 at my alma mater, Macalester College, right here in the Twin Cities. And the foundation of the group was begun by our emeritus founder, Brother Russell Knight, a native of Beaumont, Texas. In 1969, he was a student at Macalester and began a group called the Macalester College Black Voices. Fast forward to 1971, January, he was getting ready to graduate in a few months and he asked me on as director. I was honored. They were excellent back then. And the vision that God gave me, Nina, was to follow actually the musical example of Duke Ellington. Now that surprises a lot of people when I say that, because we hear Duke's name and we think of jazz, but a lot of people don't know that Duke wrote, recorded, and performed spirituals, anthems, hymns, blues, African music, every sound of Blackness, the music of the culture. So that's where that style of repertoire originated.
Okay, that's awesome. Yeah, I didn't know that. Okay, so you all, did you come together as a group or did you say we're a choir? I mean, what did you say in the beginning of how you all came together?
Well, we were formed originally as Macalester College Black Voices, always as an ensemble, never really a choir. But of course, when you see more than one Black voice, you know, people say choirs, and that's okay. We've always been more of a performing ensemble. We do productions and plays as well as our recordings and our live concerts. And that's been the case since 1971. So last year, we celebrated our 50th anniversary.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I remember you telling me about that. What was that?
Right.
50 years. Can you believe you guys are still going strong?
By the grace of God and by the dedication of a lot of people. And you know what? Currently, we really have second generation Sounds of Blackness because a number of our current members, Nina, are actually offspring, the children of some original members.
Wow.
You know, Jalicia Bennett, you know, of course, is Ann Nesby's daughter. There's so many, Lacey Dreams. Nika is the daughter of the great Cynthia Johnson. And so it's really Sounds of Blackness second generation.
Wow, that is great. Now tell me about the hits. What was it like when you all got your first hit and what was it?
The first national, actually international hit was, of course, Optimistic, our theme song, or certainly one of our primary theme songs. And that was in early spring of 1991 on our first national release, Evolution of Gospel on Perspective Records with the great Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. So we always give a shout out to them. And it was really quite surreal, you know, to come out the gate like that. But that record was almost 2 years in the making. And we had worked with Jam and Lewis on and off for years. So the relationship preceded the record. But when Evolution of Gospel came out and Optimistic, you know, went #1 and all of those wonderful things and the Grammy, the first Grammy and all of that kind of thing. We were very humbled first and foremost and very thankful, and we still are.
Wow. So you all have how many Grammys, how many awards? If you give me a rough number, I know you have so many over 50 years.
Oh, bless you. Well, blessed to date with 3 Grammys and as well as some several Stellar and Soul Train Image Awards, BET and so forth. And you know what? We're thankful for that and we treasure them. You know, we'd be lying if we said differently. But you know what, Nina, more importantly, is a note as an example, from a young lady that we got when we were performing in London a few years ago. And at the end of a concert, she fought her way, a small diminutive woman, fought her way past the big security guards and all that. And I could see her, we were doing Optimistic, by the way. And she was waving a note, in her hand and fighting through the crowd. And she made her way up to the stage and handed me, I was still at the piano, and handed me a note. And on that note said, "When my mother died, Optimistic saved my life." And so, the Grammys and all of that are great. We don't get it twisted. But when people tell you that your music has brought them to God or helped save their life or got them out of an abusive situation or helped them to get through college, we've had presidents, we've had governors, we've had people tell us that. That's, it doesn't get any better than that.
Absolutely. One of my favorite songs, "Hold On," "Change Is Coming." One of my
Yes.
one of our local guys here got the opportunity to sing that with you guys, and he is so excited. Who wrote that song, and who's been some of the producers and writers over the years?
"Hold On, Change Is Coming" is co-written by our assistant director and master keyboardist and vocalist, Brother Billy Steele, a native of Gary, Indiana. And Levi Caesar, a native of the Bay Area. He's up in Oakland and formerly of Prince and the New Power Generation. And Levi has played with our band many times and still an honorary member. But they co-wrote "Hold On, Change Is Coming" and brought Brother Quan to the party as well to do a great duet. And we're going to feature Quan as well when Sounds of Blackness goes to do our recording for Gospel Superfest in Columbus, Ohio, in just a couple of weeks.
Yes, that is exciting. Can't wait to see you guys. All right. Now, I know there's been a lot of music, and I know that a lot of times the hits aren't necessarily the favorites of the group. What's been some of the songs that, maybe didn't even get any airplay in some of the projects that you really liked? I know you and I talked about, the percussion project because we're both percussionists, but
right. You're absolutely right, Queen Nina. And some of the songs that weren't released as singles and may or may not have even gotten airplay, or certainly not to the degree that the singles got it, remain among our favorites for a number of reasons. In no particular order, songs like "Black Butterfly," "You Can Do Most Anything Your Heart Desires," "Spread Your Wings and Fly," especially when we sing that to our youth. There's "Black Butterfly," there's "Royalty." "We Got a Message from Above," "You Ain't No Thug, You're Royalty." There's "Black Lives Matter" and "Sick and Tired" and "Time for Reparations," songs that we did when Brother George Floyd was murdered. And it wasn't a time to do happy songs. We needed to express the feelings and the mood of the people. And didn't get the airplay because radio was looking for a happy song. They were looking for another optimistic, and we understood that. But here in Minneapolis, there was too much angst. There was too much intensity to come out. If we had just come out with another feel-good song, we would have actually been seen as part of the problem. Okay, y'all don't get it. Y'all just want to make us happy. So we expressed the feeling. God led us to express the feeling of the people. And so some of those songs, our most recent one, before "Hold Up Your Light," Juneteenth Celebration, is one of the, and now "Hold Up Your Light" by Carrie Harrington is just a masterpiece. And we hope that it will get the airplay that it deserves.
Now, tell me about the Juneteenth song. Remember, I emailed you back immediately. As soon as I get anything from you,
yes,
immediately put it on. And I just said, fire. I love it. Who wrote
yes,
that?
Thank you.
Tell everybody about the Juneteenth song.
Okay, well, in terms of who wrote it, I believe in the words of the great country artist Chet Atkins. He once said, "There are no songwriters, all music is given." And so it was given to me. But I take it in that way. Sounds of Blackness had been in anthem mode for the past few years. Like I say, ever since George Floyd was murdered 5 blocks from where we rehearsed, sister.
Wow.
And so we were, right. We were in the heart of it. A lot of people don't understand, like, why are we all so attached? You did the funeral and involvement kind of thing, because this is our community. This is, in the heart and soul of it. And so with Juneteenth Celebration, it's like, okay, we need another anthem. Juneteenth has finally been declared as an official national holiday, although it's been that way with our people, for years and years. But it's like, okay, since this is official now, it needs an official anthem. And who better to do it than Sounds of Blackness? So that's how the good Lord led us to Juneteenth Celebration.
It's a wonderful song. I hope every year, I know as long as I'm in radio, every year to commemorate the Juneteenth celebration, you'll be hearing that all over my shows. So,
Oh, thank you so much,
and
Queen
not
Dina.
just me, I'm sure everybody else, because it's a fantastic song. And it's
Thank
so
you.
fitting for the holiday. We're very excited about that song. All right.
Thank
So, I wanted to ask you, what has kept the group together for 50 years? I mean, how do you do that? You can barely keep a group together past the first engagement. How how do you keep a group together for so many years?
Well, first and foremost, Queen Nina, only by the grace of God. I mean, I ain't got a whole lot of sense, but I got enough to know that. So it's only by his grace and by the dedication of some wonderful people, our singers and our band. Our band doesn't get the props that it should, but our band are 20, 30-year, 35-year veterans, as well as, of course, like the singers are very dedicated. And so they make my job a lot easier, being dedicated. And I'll close out the answer with this. In being blessed to work with Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis as a staff producer at Flight Time, I was in an interview with them once, and they were asked, what is your criteria? You guys have worked with everybody all over the world. What is your criteria for selecting whom you're going to work with? And I'll never get the answer. They said, we look for a good heart. We obviously, if they're even in the running, the talent is there and all that. So that's not the question.
Yes.
But what's their heart like? Is this going to be an enjoyable experience? Are we going to, make magic happen? And so, when I conduct auditions for sounds, obviously the talent level has to be there, but also I'm looking for a good heart.
And that was my next question. Do you all have auditions, and how does one become a member of Sounds of Blackness?
We do have auditions, and Queen, we used to have them on a regular basis annually, but it became such a cattle call that it was causing frustration because so many would show up, and we would audition everybody. Sometimes it would take all day, and we was like, you know what, we don't want to discourage people, and so and the reason it was such a backup is because, as I mentioned a moment ago, our membership has always been so dedicated, so openings would be few and far between. So then several years ago, I changed the policy basically to where whenever we had openings, we would be open to, because people would also, even beyond us announcing an audition, people would solicit on their own and say, here's my tape, I want to go. So it's like whenever there was an opening, we would reach back out to those people and maybe do a small announcement, saying that we have, this position open, kind of thing, so that we didn't cause the frustration, because that's not what we wanted to do. We always wanted to be a positive experience.
Wow. Now, you guys have had the opportunity to travel around the world. And, I love to hear about these exotic places. Where are some of the places that you've been?
We've been, like you say, by the grace of God, to much of the world. My God, of course, across America, of course, North America, including Canada, Europe, Asia, primarily Japan, South America. And after years, Queen Nina, of singing about Africa, finally getting to go there, specifically to Ghana, to Accra and Cape Coast, with one of our favorite artists of all time, Brother Stevie Wonder. We went there for a great music festival called Panafest, the great Pan-African music festival. And we went, Stevie also had us go with him to Brazil and to Monte Carlo for the World Music Awards. So blessed. The only places we haven't been so far are to Russia, China, and Australia in terms of major, ports of call around the world. But we're thankful for that.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So what was it like when you went to Africa, where every artist I've ever spoke to, that's always the goal, is to go to Africa. I know the flight is like, 3 weeks long. And, and then you get there. And, how are you all accepted? Do people know you when you go to these other countries? Are they like singing the songs with you? I mean, how is that?
First of all, I'm so glad you singled out Africa, because we love all those places and all the wonderful people around the world that we've been blessed to meet, awesome cultures and all of that. But there's nothing like the experience. And I encourage particularly every African American to make it part of your life's goal to make a sojourn to Africa at some point. Even Richard Pryor told us, how many times have we heard, you'll never be the same, you'll never be the same. Richard came back and stopped using the N-word. I mean, Richard Pryor, I mean, just so life-changing. And so it was life-changing for us. And to answer the other part of the question, yes, it was so humbling and gratifying when, you know, people knew who we were and were singing the songs. And when we even in the airport, you know, people broke out in song, long as you keep it. It's like, oh my goodness, wow, you know, here we are halfway around the world and in the motherland. So it was gratifying on more levels than I could probably even describe.
Wow, that's awesome. I have a friend who's in Ghana right now. I mean, he actually called while we were talking. So
okay.
he was saying that he's having a little bit of an issue with the food, but other than that, he said it's nothing like it. He said, as soon as you don't complain, you know you are someplace different. So
that's right. Literally life-changing, Nina. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. All right. The new music. You got a new song that released. What was the official release date? Is it out now?
It is out now just by about a week. We released it on July 29th, and it is Hold Up Your Light, just a masterful track and lyrics by our own Carrie Harrington, super talented songwriter. She's the first voice that you hear on Optimistic. When in the midst of, right? So people say, oh, that's it. And she's also our choreographer. And yeah, as well as one of our soloists.
She was going to join us today.
Yes. And she texted while we've been interviewing here and said that she still couldn't get on. So hopefully we can get her separately with you, because she tried many times as I did with technical difficulty, but just a multi-talented singer and choreographer and songwriter, and she also produced this track as well.
Wow. Okay. Now, I don't know if I asked you this the last time we spoke, but are you all considering yourself in a genre? I mean, are you inspirational?
No.
I mean, we're just Black people who sing? Is that it?
This is we try to always be Nina, true to our name. Sounds of Blackness. We couldn't call ourselves Sounds of Blackness if we only did hip hop, if we only did blues, if we only did gospel. I tell, especially the saints, a lot of times, you know, will sometimes be taken aback by the fact that we're doing both sacred and secular music. But what we say is this, especially with our people, our testimony is incomplete. You can't appreciate the glory, hallelujah of the gospel without the pain of the blues and the history of the spirituals. I mean, it would be an incomplete testimony. And so we sing the music of our experience and try to live up to our name, every sound of Blackness, jazz, blues, gospel, spirituals. We love the spirituals, hip hop, reggae, ragtime. That's all part of the testimony that God has blessed us with.
Beautiful. Okay, final question. I know you have to get to rehearsal. Give some advice to a new group, somebody who's thinking about becoming a group or a choir, or just getting out there and representing themselves, not necessarily like you all, just want to do Black music. Give them some advice.
Well, I would give them a little formula, an equation here that talks about the letter P, and that makes it easy to remember. Start with prayer, so that God is at the center and in the front and all around everything that you do. Prayer, and then practice your craft every day. That's so important, because opportunities will come and they'll come quickly. And as much love as that opportunity may have for you, if you ain't ready, they will move on and they'll do it with a quickness. So practice so that you're ready. That's part of the next P, preparation. That's scriptural, for us we're told to study to show ourselves approved, but we're always encouraged, admonished, scripturally to prepare ourselves. And then another P is perspiration, to have your body, spirit, mind, and body are one. And this is, I tell my singers all the time that singing is a sport. You need to be in condition to do this. Now, that doesn't mean looking like Mr. or Miss America. A lot of times people get that confused. It means being the best version of whatever your physique is, but just being in physical condition to do this, so that we don't get caught in that situation that the scripture says, the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. Now, I know that's in another context, but sometimes we want to go on, we want to keep rehearsing, but we're tired, we're exhausted because we're not in condition to do that. Okay. And so prayer, perseverance, practice, and preparation. are all part of the equation.
That's a good word right there. Very good word. How can everybody connect with you guys? Or maybe join your fan club? Like me, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So please connect with us. We're just available everywhere, starting with our website. And it's so easy to remember because it's just our name. Even our website is just soundsofblackness.org, soundsofblackness.org. And if you put in .com, it's still going to pop up. So just remember, that's our website. We've got all of our contact information there, our merchandise. If you buy any merchandise or any of our music, we also donate a portion of the proceeds to the George Floyd Scholarship Foundation. So we don't just talk the walk, we walk the talk, okay? But we're also, we're available on everything from Instagram to TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, just Sounds of Blackness. And you will hear back from us when you reach out. So please do that. You can see, and we encourage you to go to YouTube and check out Hold Up Your Light. We have a lyric video. We're going to follow it up with a full performance concept video. But the lyric video for our new release, Hold Up Your Light, is available on YouTube now. But we're easy to get in touch and stay in touch with.
Let me ask you something really quick about the area. You said your rehearsal hall was a few blocks from where George Floyd was murdered. Is that an area? They were saying what a bad area that was. You know, I noticed in one of the videos when they were talking about how bad the neighborhood was, I saw like 3 people walking, and 2 of them were white, walking out of that store licking ice cream cones. And
right.
It looked like it was a bad area to me. Just my own curiosity. Like,
well, you know, I mean, South Minneapolis and where Brother George was murdered and where we rehearsed, you know, it is the hood, okay? But what media often exaggerates the negativities of the hood and overlooks the positivity. You know, like you saw people, you know, of all colors enjoying themselves, eating some ice cream on a hot day, and obviously not in any fear or alarm. So, but that doesn't get covered, you know, like it does when something negative happens. And so, because you know what, quiet as it's kept, it's dangerous everywhere now. You know, these mass shootings and all that, you know, they're happening out in the suburbs and out in the rural areas and all of that. So, but I know what your question is saying. Yeah. But, you know, so South Minneapolis, you know, it's like anywhere else, you know, there are times and places, you know, where you watch your back a little bit more than others. But there are also lots more times and places where you walk and hold your head up high in pride and in safety and with respect.
Okay, amen. Again, the new song is called Hold Up Your Light from Sounds of Blackness. They're going to be live and in person in Columbus, Ohio on August 20th. See how I got it all memorized because I'm so excited. And I want everybody to come out and check them out. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys in person. Thank you so much, Brother Gary. Thank you.
Thank you, Queen Nina, on behalf of Sounds of Blackness. Hold up your light.